You know, here's a joke. Here's a joke for you guys. You know why they call them feds? Because they stay fed while you, the little people, we the people, go hungry. They don't care because they stay paid anyway. This is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023 AD. Enjoy this fun, entertaining clip right now.
In the bathroom taking a shave, and I heard a screeching, between a screech and a whistle. I said, what in the world is this? And I heard a boom. Then my whole house shook.
White says he didn't realize it was a plane at the time, so he didn't call anybody.
The first thought came to me, I said, well, must what's a meteorite coming out of space or something? And I said, well, if it's an airplane, it needed to be reported. But that thing was flying just too low.
The F-35B airplane wreckage created an extensive debris field. The wreckage is located off Old Georgetown Road. Military security is very tight with numerous red and white signs on the...
That was a portion of the, of a report, local report in, where? Williamsburg County, was it South Carolina? He was an F-35 crash witness. There was this black redneck, they would call him a redneck, who witnessed or heard that missing F-35 that you may have heard about, not on Hake News, I didn't hardly even talked about it, crashing. Randolph White. Nice. He sounded a little Jamaican to me. Anyway, guys, we're going to talk, what are we going to talk about? We will talk about, just thought I would play an entertaining black clip, right? We're going to talk about, it's not what they're saying. The truth is not what they're saying, nor what you're thinking. It's crazy. What am I talking about specifically? I won't say for the sake of my channel. Various different things. Some of the stuff I suppose I can say. Satan, the angel of light. Some PragerU, Dennis Prager wisdom to share with you guys. You guys are fans of fellow fans of Dennis Prager, right? Press 1 if yes, press 2 if no. Press 3 if indifferent. Press 4 if please don't. It's interesting. I will maybe I hope to play some Russell Brand ridiculousness. You know they're going after Russell Brand. I got a call about it from a guy who made Ben from Connecticut. Said that somebody is something. I guess I won't get into that. What he said. Won't repeat it. Unrepeatable. And some other stuff going on in the world. So, Ukraine's unchristian president talking about the climate. I may tell you a little bit about Refugee Resettlement Watch mess. Crazy. Sick. So, and some other things going on in the world. And, of course, your calls, guys. But anyway, everybody, let's get right on with the show!
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
Hey, guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La, la, la.
So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. I'm hiding my pocket tee. I'm protecting my pocket from Artie Art, my caller from Ohio. In high school, he would have pretended to try to rip my pocket out. Good thing we didn't go to high school together. I would have been like an upperclassman, and there's this 6th grader, Artie Art, bullying Hake. No, don't rip my pocket. I'm just playing. I'm not going to rip it. I'm a decent man. Pretty amusing and funny. Sort of, yeah. So that's cool, and it's tan. It's a light sort of tan t-shirt, 100% cotton. And it's medium varies. The size medium varies. I don't like it Okay, so this medium, the seam for the sleeve, it hangs well off the shoulder. I sort of like this fit. Fits sort of like a large. And then yesterday's medium, like hanged way over like a woman's shoulder t-shirt. So I gotta buy me a new All Thoughts Are Lies t-shirt. New and improved design, slightly improved. See if you can pick out the difference. By going to rebuildingtheman.com/stores. I need to do that. By the way, we do have Wow HASSAN right after Hake today. Walking on Water HASSAN on YouTube there. You can check my description for in Rumble or YouTube to find Walking on Water HASSAN, as well as Joel Friday TV, as well as American Anchor Baby. Cool, huh? Okay. Let's dive right into some stories, I suppose, right? Well, this one is not really a story. It's just about the truth in general about any given topic. Some of these topics you really don't need to be even concerned about. They have us barking up the wrong tree so that we argue about things, that are just meaningless and a waste of time. It's not what you think. It's not what they say. Maybe some of this stuff, there is factual stuff behind what they're saying, but it's not the bigger truth about any given situation, And it's not what you think. I don't want to name the issue or issues about which I'm talking about, for the sake of my channels, of course. But the puffing up of egos, how the Bible says knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. And the getting lost in details and arguments, it's a waste. I'd say that phrase, that idiom, that figure of speech, barking up the wrong tree, because you're looking in the wrong place or you're distracted. It's a distraction. You're distracted by something that doesn't even matter sometimes. It's stupid. It's mind-numbing. I saw a couple of tweets from Scott Adams says. One of those tweets says, he says, this would explain ... ellipsis, everything. And it's something about some topic that I shall not mention. I'm a little distracted by something on the back of that chair. Strange. And I don't know what the truth is, nor do I really care. I agree with JLP. God's got it. God has it. And I also agree with I'm being purposely vague. Hopefully you can still follow me. I agree with based Bill Lockwood, frequent guest, monthly guest on the JLP show, give or take. Tweets sounds not morally straight. I should say posts on X. I'll just say what Bill Lockwood says. Green is the new red. Globalist socialism. As you heard Sean say in the J.C. Lee Peterson show, if you listened to it this morning, which you can podcast by going to jlptalk.com, they create the problem or create symptoms and swoop in with their evil false solutions that create more problems, and they have, hey, we have a problem on our hands. Oh, look at this. We're in power. We can pretend to be like we're going to bring some solutions and bring in even more issues. They don't have the solutions. They don't really love us. They don't really care about us. To quote the late man who knew the truth, that's why they killed him. I'm kidding around a little bit. But it's a Michael Jackson song. They don't really care about us, right? There was another Scott Adams tweet. That's interesting, ... something like that. And I'm not going to read it again for the sake of my channel. But it has to do with past events about which there were shenanigans, to use my word and Trump's word. Hake listener confirmed Trump said shenanigans after Hake said shenanigans. But we all know that Trump lies. I'm saying that for the sake of my channel. But very interesting poll in Georgia, of all places. And if you want to know what I'm talking about, after the show, after I post a fuller blog post on the HakeReport.com, you can read about what I'm referencing. For the sake of my channel, I will not mention it. Because we're not allowed to say certain things on the channels, right? There's some gross things going on. Cernovich tweeted, he quote tweeted himself saying, he said, the left had no problem with this, and he posted a 2021 tweet about this certain man, and I use the term loosely, a hero in California, not a hero of you and me, I don't think, but this person with a white-colored item-sounding last name, Milk, okay? And that man, allegedly, according to Cernovich, had one of those messed up evil relationships. But the left had no problem with it. And he was a champion, not a godly champion, a champion of evil for misguiding people. He was misguided and misguiding other people, blind leading the blind. There's disturbing things about black on white crime going on, and black crime, and some sick, evil, crazy things going on. You may have heard in the Jesse Lee Peterson show. You may have heard on American Anchor Baby yesterday. Horrific things. And we've heard of horrific things going on in the past from the Triple K group. Has anybody ever called them the Triple K? And, you know, that time period. And I believe that horrific things happen. Evil has always been with us. But there's evil, crazy, nasty, psycho, brutal things going on present day. I've talked about black brutality. I do not cover black brutality on the Hake Report. It's distasteful for my taste, my tender taste. My tender heart cannot take the coverage of the brutality and the vulgar stuff that men and women, people, are doing. So sick. Anyway, so that's my little vague pro tip. I don't know, you call me a pro. Okay. Here's another little tip that I've noticed. There's a simple solution to your situation. You know how we have situations. There may be a way out or through your ordeal that will not weigh on your mind as much as it is weighing on your mind right now if you're going through a situation that's weighing on your mind that you haven't even thought of or considered or let yourself consider because you have a mental block, you're blind or whatever. You know, you get yourself into these situations, oftentimes with people, and then if you're weak, you feel like you can't extricate yourself from the situation or you don't want to, or it's actually quite easy and a big relief too, though. If you're not a mama about it. That might be a bit vague. It is a bit vague, I think, too, but it's the truth. People's problems, you know, if you see somebody's life on the outside, if you just fix this and this, you'd be set. Like I look at Britney Spears or some of these other people with problems. And outside looking in, it's quite simple. I guess that's the situation for everybody on the outside looking at this person. Oh, it's simple. Just fix this and this. And then for the person, it seems so hard and difficult. What are you talking about, Hake? Well, as one example, I was in a situation where I was helping a friend get a car. I was I was like a go-between between one friend and another friend, hooking them up. And then, like, it wasn't going that smoothly. And I realized, you know what? I'm the only person hanging this bad deal together. I'm walking away. Duh. I had a mental block about walking away, but then somebody's all, why don't you just walk away from that? Oh, you can do that? Duh. Instant relief for all involved, honestly. One of the people was all mad. Took it the wrong way. Made all kinds of false assumptions about what it meant that I was doing that. And so it put a strain on the relationship. Actually, it kind of ended that little friendship there. At least temporarily. I'm like, fine with me. Instant relief. Everybody else is relieved. Prius origin story? Not quite. This might predate the Prius. Anyway, hashtag walk away. Hashtag. Nicole92 says, true, that's why I stopped trying to help and give others advice. I realized they just wanted to vent. Yeah, very true. I've heard it said, before I ever heard of JLP and others, that women, they don't want solutions, they just want to express their feelings, so don't give them solutions. Anyway, let's cover Dennis Prager. He put out, well, not he, but Prager University, PragerU, tweeted this out. Clip 32, people don't know the real evil. And it's a little 31-second video clip that I want to share with you. Here's Dennis Prager talking about Satan, who was originally Lucifer. Is that true? I think it's what people assume based on what the Bible talks about. It may be not even an assumption. It may be a logical understanding, implication. But here's Dennis Prager on Lucifer. Check it out.
I realized that at a very early age, they say evil is dark, but it's not true. Evil is bright. You can look into the dark. You can't look into very bright light. By the way, I mentioned this on my radio show, and somebody pointed out Lucifer means light. It's an interesting theological point that the person made. People can't look at evil because it's too bright, but you need to look at it. Put on sunglasses, but you have to look at it. Like you do with an eclipse, you put on sunglasses. You put on a filter so as not to get blinded.
Wow, what does that mean, though? That's from Prager University. Dennis Prager. He's a Jewish guy, relatively conservative guy. He, some of you, a lot of you guys put 2, don't show him. 1, yes, I like him. 2, no, I don't like him. 3, don't care. Something like that. Yeah, he's not a Christian. But he's relatively Christian friendly. As those people go. Like, he loves JLP. Likes JLP's wisdom. There was one quote where he's like, JLP is a man of so much wisdom, because he's done written some forewords for Jesse Lee Peterson's books. He said, he has so much wisdom that when I differ with him, I rarely disagree with him, but when I differ with him, I think to myself, where did I go wrong? He questions himself. And that's a good thing, to question yourself. It's not good to put somebody on a pedestal, like above you, but it is a good thing to question your assumptions. Arga Lunas, I disavow that question. At least you didn't put a question mark behind it. I'm reading the chat. I don't know exactly what he meant when he said you need to put on sunglasses, a filter, to see evil. But I could sort of maybe go with that metaphor a little bit. When you're looking at evil, I would say evil is darkness, but it is Satan. It is true. 2 Corinthians, right? This man doesn't even necessarily believe in the New Testament, right? Because I don't think he believes in Jesus necessarily. 2 Corinthians, right? 2 Corinthians 11:14, I looked it up. Because somebody questioned this, saying, it doesn't make sense. Satan, after his fall, didn't associate with light. Well, 2 Corinthians 11:14, Satan transfigured himself, or disguises himself, or transfigureth himself, as the, or an angel of light. Angel of light. Salud. Gesundheit. Gesundheit. That's Nazi for salud. I mean German for bless you. Whatever. Satan, according to Paul, if you're not a Paul denier, some of you guys are Paul deniers, at least one or two. Guys think Paul was a false apostle. But Paul, I believe, wrote Corinthians. And Satan disguised himself as the angel of light. And you guys know that. We talk about evil on my show a lot, right? And most of the evil that I'm pointing out is not killing, people, little people, especially unborn people. Some of that I do touch on. Or, ISIS-type mass murders or so-called genocides. I distance myself from the genocide word because I think it's a globo, homo, liberal, unchristian word to distract from regular mass murder or war. There's genocide. Anyway, there's also the mama spirit, nicey evil. That's like calling wrong right and right wrong, having stuff backwards. And like Ellen, degenerate, as Ellen's so generous in public, right? In private, maybe a different story. Degenerate, as Jessie Lee calls her, who's like kids with her twirly hypnosis tool. Be who you are. Be true to yourself. That's the most important thing. Which is satanic. Do as thou wilt. Isn't that Satanism? Something like that? More Ellen. Nice. Yeah. All right, moving on from Pastor Steven Anderson, posing as for the light. But he's angry and hateful and believes lies and makes assumptions about people and the Bible and stuff. Or Obama, an angel of light-skinned hope and change. Or Mitt Romney, anti-racist Mormon. Oh, angel of light. Or Vivek Ramaswamy. Can I add an extra syllable in his name? Based pro-America nation identity, India, anchor baby, in America, pro-Trump. Used to call him, oh, it's so terrible what he did on January 6th or for January 6th. Or Dr. Fauci, doctor of light for the HIV and China virus sufferers. Hake's hands being extra shifty today. Yes, indeed. Or Senator Tim Scott, the Black Rhino. Not to be confused with based Tim Scott in my live chat. Or Rhonda Sanctimonious. Maybe. I don't know. I threw that in there just to needle you guys. Some of you guys are DeSantis supporters. But it may be true. I mean, the false angel of light possesses all of us, right? We're all phonies until we repent. Hake just saying sentence fragments. LOL. Lots of laughs, says Kevin Howe. That may be true. But you're not very bright. Or maybe you're very bright. Oh, by the way, he said something about bright. Do you guys want to see Dennis Prager again? Let's play that clip one more time. Here's Dennis Prager again. He said something about bright. It made me think of Maze.
I realize that at a very early age, they say evil is dark, but it's not true. Evil is bright. You can look into the dark. You can't look into very bright light. By the way, I mentioned this on my radio show, and somebody pointed out Lucifer means light. It's an interesting theological point that the person made. People can't look at evil because it's too bright, but you need to look at it. Put on sunglasses, but you have to look at it. Like you do with an eclipse. You put on sunglasses. You put on a filter so as not to get blinded.
Nice. He said evil is bright. So Maze was right. Maze, my favorite caller for a reason, was right. You guys are bright. Bright means dumb or worse than dumb. Evil. But anyway, just thought I would share that with you. And speaking of that, people read the Bible wrong. Just quick side note. They start jumping to conclusions about what it says and what it means or what it implies. And they're thinking that they're being logical. Isn't that true? It's so true. Based India, non-Christian Prager is all I heard, says Kevin Howe. Yeah, because you do not have ears to hear, Kevin Howe. That's why Asmodor banned you. Hassan, do you have any thoughts on this stuff? And by the way, give us a little preview of what you're going to be covering today, since we're here.
Oh, yeah, thank you, man. Yeah, I like Dennis Prager.
Nice, me too.
Yeah,
you like the Jews like I like them.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, I was watching something just the other day.
Do you like them?
On him, yeah. And I quoted something he said. So yeah, he's got a lot of good wisdom.
Did you know that he wrote a bunch of the forwards, or at least a forward or two?
I did.
Peterson's
yeah,
books?
I did see that on. I think I saw it on Rage to respond. No, on. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't familiar with him before that. I think that's what made me look him up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I used to hear him on. My mother would sometimes listen to him on the radio show. On his radio show, he had a happiness hour. There's things that he says that I disagree with, but he's the one who had that more bad news.
Oh.
His producer played that, or his guy played that.
Yeah, I like the clip too from last week, where I forget if it was on here or if it was on Jesse's show, but where he was talking about the ADL and he was saying how
they're anti-Jewish.
Yeah, he was speaking
they're
up
evil.
against. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And some people don't understand that. Like the black leaders are enemies of the blacks. These Jewish so-called leaders are enemies of the Jews. But most of the blacks are so dumb, and apparently most of the Jews are either bright or not very bright, depending on whether you're adopting Mays and Prager's definition, to believe in the ADL as something remotely good. They're sick. What are you going to cover here today, man?
Oh yeah, so today we have two different Christian pastors.
Wow.
So yeah, that should be interesting. One is a good friend of mine. I think I was talking about him a couple weeks ago. He was supposed to come on. Gabriel Cannon. He's a pastor, and his father is actually he used to kind of do these Bible studies with us. Like when I first moved to LA,
Oh, wow.
they were like the first family that I kind of met, and his father would always do these Bible studies and stuff. So yeah, it'd be interesting to kind of go down memory lane. And
Are they white or black or Hispanic or what?
They're black.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah. So yeah, both of the pastors today are black.
Nice.
So yeah. So it'd be interesting to see kind of maybe the differences, the similarities, the the ideologies of theology, because they both went to theology college or whatever, Bible college. So
Yeah.
yeah, it should be interesting.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
So check him out, Walking on Water Hassan on YouTube. Wow Hassan. You can search either of those, and I think it'll come up. But I posted the link in chat, and it's in the description of my YouTube video and my Rumble video. You check the description, and you'll see the links to the other JLP network hosts.
Man, thank you, man.
Yeah. Let me get to a call or two, guys. Caller 2 or 3. Alex in California has a comment, I believe. What's up, Alex in California? How you doing?
Hey, Hake, can you hear me nice and clear? I'm driving.
I can. You're coming through quite clearly. Thank you.
Awesome. So I am white and fast. I will make this real quick. Some of your callers are kind of slow. So my first thing is a statement, and my second is a question.
Okay.
First statement, your Flat Earth Society shirt. I want you to know that the Flat Earth Society is a disinfo group. they're teaching people that the flat Earth is a disk flying in space. And that is not true. That's not what flat earthers believe. And I think it's just weird that there's a group out there that would be dedicated to doing something like that. Why would they want to do that? It's kind of weird.
Interesting.
Point,
so what do the flat earthers believe, real quick? If it's not in space, what is it in?
What's that?
What is the flat Earth in if it's not in space?
I don't have an answer for that.
Oh, okay. But are you a flat earther, or you just know that the flat earthers, the normal, legitimate Christian flat earthers, don't believe in what this flat Earth Society believes?
The second half.
Okay. So you're not a flat earther. You just know what they believe. A little bit.
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Next subject.
So my second point, I think this is very interesting because this is something you and I both share. If you Google the word Misophonia, it is basically when a sound drives you crazy. So for you, it's the hanging up of the phone, I guess that click.
Right. And for some
me,
of my...
And I find that very interesting because I thought mine was really weird. Mine is called hard consonants. So when people use the words or the letter like C, P, D, G, any of those hard consonants, they have a really loud pop or click.
Yep.
And I swear that I see red when I hear that.
Wow. Yeah.
I just wanted to know if that's something that you, like, you're very sensitive to that click. Are you sensitive to the hard consonants at all?
When the mics do not have a pop filter or whatever it's called, what takes me a long time in preparing I sort of do have that sensitivity, not in person, but on the phone or on the mic. If somebody has that, then I actually go into when I'm editing the video on the Barn Archive Sunday services that I haven't put out for a few weeks now, I bring down those pops that come up because it increases the volume. It spikes the volume like crazy.
It drives me insane because I do a lot of recording. I record vocals too.
Okay.
But I'm to the point where I can hear those pops in person. And if I hear a person speaking and they start popping, I will literally walk away. If it's on a TV show, I'm just turn it off and I won't listen to it.
Wow.
But you should look that up. It's called Misophonia. I just thought that yours was interesting.
Okay.
And one last little suggestion.
Okay.
There's a website that I think would really help you out and be intriguing to you. It's called KJASS.com, and it gives you the real-time stats of crime in Chicago. I used to look at it daily. It can tell you exactly how many people are getting murdered and who's doing it. All the statistics. Very interesting website.
Could you send that to me in a message like Twitter or email or something, or maybe spoiler alert, tag that for me in the chat? But
Can I put it in a YouTube comment? Do you look at those?
Yes, I do receive YouTube comments. It'll withhold it if it's a link, but I will be able to see it. Just don't put anything spicy and I should be able to see it.
I'll do that because I think you absolutely need to be wary of this website.
Yeah, and if I put a heart on your or respond to it, then you'll know that I received that comment. Sometimes I don't see them, but since you mentioned this to me, I'll respond to confirm that I got your message. Thank you, man. Appreciate those tips, Alex.
No problem, and I will let you hang up so there's no pop.
Nice. Take care, man. All right, Alex in California. I cut him off even though he said that he would let me. Nice. I don't know what in the world he's talking about. TBH. Okay. No problem. Spoiler alert. I didn't catch it quite either. But that's fine. He'll put it in a comment on this video, I believe. Latin A is in Cali on the line. Latin A, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes.
Latin, because she's not Latin X. Nice. How you doing?
Yeah, crazy. Latin X. That's bizarre. That's like made up stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. I just wanted to say, oh God, you can hear my rooster. Hello, rooster. Good morning. Anyways, I want to say thank you, Hake, for unblocking me, for saving me. I know you don't hate all women because, any women, because you saved me and you're a freedom of speech fighter. and you do believe in free speech, because
There's that pop. There's that pop of a P, hard consonant. That's funny. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, no one could see me. It was like I was dead.
Oh, because you would type in the chat and you would think that it was going out, but in reality, nobody could see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened to me. That's happened to me because I've said banned words as a moderator. I was a moderator in American Anchor Babies chat, and I said some J word that I hate. And it wasn't Jews, because I love Jews, but it was some other word. Jeeves.
I have
Somebody
no
said,
idea.
ask Jeeves. And I said, I hate Jeeves. And it went out. I thought it was so funny, and I was waiting for people to respond, because you know that ego, right? You say something that you think is funny, and you're waiting for people to respond. And I look in my other browser, and it didn't go out. YouTube auto-censored it. So it's kind of like the same feeling that you got.
Oh, that's crazy.
Isn't that terrible?
But, yeah.
YouTube
also
being
really
mama.
And
the mods moderating you being mama. But I don't know if they... I don't know if that's true that I'm a free speech person. I'm a freedom to tell the truth type of a person, maybe.
That's what I mean. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah.
But sometimes facts are not truth. Sometimes women say facts, but they don't say truth. And I don't know if I love all or any women. But if I love anybody, then I love all women.
Regardless, you let me speak. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it, it's good with me.
But I did tell you, steer clear. Do not run afoul of the mods.
And I don't even know what I did, or if I don't know what happened.
Well, when you block them, you block your ability to see their warnings, because they may be saying something to you. Like Lin Yan Chin blocked, spoiler alert, not to talk too much drama, but he couldn't see spoiler alerts warnings to him, so he got himself banned by cussing too much or something, allegedly, and being kind of nasty. So just a little heads up. Sometimes I basically trust my moderator's judgment, but if somebody asks me to unban them, I generally do. And then just don't fight with the mods. Don't be too crazy. Don't be saying stuff that's too gossipy. Don't be too annoying. It's hard for some people, I know. Don't be spammy. By spammy, I mean you may be telling a point and be harping on a point, and it may be annoying or nagging. Don't be a nagger to the people in the chat, and you should be fine. Mostly, I don't like being vulgar or too like gossipy, or lying or smearing people, or picking fights.
They must have got tired of me serving breakfast.
Might have been.
In the chat.
Might have been. That sounds like a euphemism. But
no.
Thank you.
No. Really quick, one more thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I've already mentioned this before when I've called in the past, is that like people like make fun of us for being in California, or they like will accuse us of being liberals for being in California. But wasn't Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk in California too? Like, we're not the only ones in California.
But those people hate Ben Shapiro and Elon Musk too, because Elon Musk is actually pretty liberal, and Ben Shapiro is not a Christian. And so, yeah, they don't think that those people are based either. Even though you and I happen to know that Ben Shapiro is based, and so is Elon Musk.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
I'm kidding around. That part I was teasing a little bit, but yeah, I don't really get a whole lot of accusations of being liberal just for living in California, but I do hear people saying, "Get out of California! It's crazy over there, especially LA." And I somewhat understand the warning or the heads up, but no matter where you go, I mean, you go ahead and run home and cry to mama.
Even if you move to like a red state, they're gonna like make fun of you over there for being from California, probably.
Yeah, Shapiro isn't
they're gonna say,
based.
"Go back to California."
Yeah, I know. No matter where you go.
You
there's going to be
if you do, damned if you don't.
There will be conflict no matter where you go, and criticism, always.
Well, thank you, Hake.
Thank you.
Consider my request. Thank you.
Oh yeah, okay. Thank you. Thanks for the reminder. I will. I shall. Take care, Latine in Cali. Adios. I'm hanging up before she responds because what if she didn't respond and started to hang up and got a click on us? John Frederick says, "Hey, I lived in LA and moved to Florida. It is 10,000 times better." He put that with no comma nor period. Nice, John Frederick. Right on. For some, it makes sense. I'm not calling you a sissy just for leaving. Me? I'm through running. I say we stay here and fight it out. To quote that movie that I never saw. John's a first-time caller in Kentucky. Is he really a first-time caller in Kentucky? There has been at least 2 Johns in Kentucky to whom I've talked. John in Kentucky, what's up?
Howdy, Hake.
Hey. Are you?
Hey, what do you think? Go ahead.
Oh, I was saying, are you sure you're a first-time caller?
No, it's my second.
Oh, okay. Cool. Go ahead.
So, what do you think, Lauren Boebert? Would you date her?
Would I date her? No, she is a married/separated woman with 4 children. I would not date her. I do find her mildly attractive.
Do you really?
But I disavow that because she's another man's wife, even though they're separated.
Did you see her in the theater?
No, I don't watch that stuff, but I heard a little bit about it. She was getting cozy.
Nasty.
Yeah, it was some
2
drama.
hands, bro. 2 hands.
Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself. And she shouldn't be doing that. She has children and she's married, but she's
awesome, man. She's awesome.
Immature female congressman.
I want to party with her. I want to party with her.
Well, I appreciate it, John, in Kentucky. Take care, man.
She does cocaine.
I gotta go, man. Hanging up now. Appreciate your call. Daniel in Texas on the line. Daniel in Texas, how you doing, man?
I'm well, James. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to ask you about news cycles. What do you think of our current news cycle?
It's boring.
Yes.
Yeah. And I read Hake News, CNN, The Skim, day in and day out, and people get annoyed. Call Hake a nagger. I annoy people with the Hake News, but it really is tiresome or unenlightening. There is light to be gleaned from it if you're a person who can come across information and have wisdom and insight about it, like JLP, and we're mutual fans and listeners of Asmodor at times. He has some interesting things to say, but other than that,
He keeps it interesting.
Yeah. What about you? What makes you bring that up? Do you have anything specific about?
I just wanted your opinion, because I agree with you. It is boring, and I want to shine some light.
Okay.
This stuff is totally controlled, whether it's exciting or boring. Right. So in 2015, I mean, you could basically hear a pin drop with the news cycle. And then 2016, it was like the end of the world. It was like the Mayan calendar just decided to end the world.
That's funny. The Mayan calendar. 2012, the end of the world. Was that Mayans or I thought that was Aztecs or Mayans or somebody. You know better. You probably know better than I. You know history.
Yeah, it's 2012. But my point is, it's the end of the world, right? Like everybody and their brother was talking about the election, and I think this is just going to that type of stuff where it's like, oh my goodness, the sky is falling, is totally controlled, and we're going to have that again.
Because Trump is going to be a major player in this election cycle? Is that what you're talking about?
Because of whatever they pluck out of their imagination.
Yeah.
Whatever they pluck out of their imagination. Because we forget, or it's easy to forget times like this, where it's like, oh, there's really nothing out there. What is going on in the world? Nothing interesting.
Yep.
And then they pluck something out of their imagination, and it's like, this has been a problem for 2,000 years, and we have done nothing about it,
Yep.
We have to do something about it yesterday, And meanwhile, yesterday was like, washing paint dry.
Yeah. It's so... When I talked about the news cycle, the things I was specifically thinking about was, oh, Lord, Ukraine again. Oh, Lord, Biden's old. Oh, Lord, climate change, climate hysteria, climate anxiety. Oh, Lord, Trump's charges, racketeering or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same old thing. It's boring, and then there are little developments. Oh, Lord, another guy got MeToo'd and demonetized on YouTube. It's sort of remarkable, but it's been happening forever. It's like you yawn about it because, oh, Lord, black crime. Oh, surprise, surprise. I kind of understand why the media doesn't cover the black crime anymore. But partly because some of it's so crazy and wild, and it's too nasty and cruel it's too explicit to talk about. And part of it is because it's tired and it's not news anymore. It's been going on forever that it's like when Trump called the border situation an emergency, a national emergency. They're like, how's it a national emergency? It's been going on for decades. Well, one, it's very dire. It's probably the worst that it's been. And two, they're right. It has been going on forever. It's tiresome.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And, I remember when 9/11 happened, and then they had the color coding for alert levels.
Yeah.
Remember that? It was like this big rainbow color code of what level of alertness we were in.
Right.
And it was like 10 different colors. And that was a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, everybody had to know we're in orange now. We're in orange now. Over in Saudi Arabia, they they said they're really mad at us or something.
Yeah.
So
That's
now we're
funny.
in orange. We used to be in blue, but
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and of course they have 9 colors, but they're only ever in the top 3.
What was the threat level? Did they have a threat color during the Boston Marathon that one year, and whenever that was, when the Boston Marathon bombers bombed the Boston Marathon? What was the threat level then, or did they abandon the colors by that point?
By that point, I don't know, because the colors were kind of like in the aughts. It was like the 2000s.
Yeah, it's so true.
And that was like,
I forgot about that.
Or something.
Yeah, you're right.
And the color level was kind of like a George Bush thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they had playing cards on, you need to get this guy. Remember the playing cards for this, the most wanted terrorists, alleged terrorists?
I have those. Yeah, I have those. They're
That's
sitting
funny.
on my counter.
Nice.
I have them on display. Yeah, Saddam Hussein is the number one.
Wow.
He's the ace of spades.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's funny, man.
But it's all controlled. It's all controlled. How much they want to aggravate people.
Yeah.
Is all controlled, and that includes the black violence. Like they totally have the blacks in their pockets.
Yeah.
Do whatever they want to write about. And I'm just not convinced that a lot of these incidents, these murders and stuff, because everything is so there's so much disinformation that I'm not even sure if these events are even happening at the time that they say they're happening.
Wow.
I'm kind of skeptical that some of these events may have happened a long time ago, and they just kind of keep all the recordings and stuff, and then they pull it out at a later time and they say it's recent. You know.
I don't know. Wow, that's pretty wild, man.
But all I know is these people are in the entertainment business.
Yeah.
You know, and they need eyes, and they need it to be entertaining. So I'm sure they probably have a stockpile of, you know, footage that they use, and then they basically just make it as they would make a movie.
That's funny. I really don't think it's like that. I think that it's a big country, and they've pushed insanity so long that insane things are happening all over, and it's quite spontaneous, and it's predictable how people will respond, and it's kind of predictable how they being the media or politicians or whoever, will exploit such and such or such and such in their own evil way.
Yeah, but I think
it's too much work to script this stuff out, you know.
Well, let me
go ahead.
Let me just tell you my opinion on something, and you can just throw it away.
Sure.
But I don't think the Georgia Florida thing happened in real time. It just doesn't seem like it happened when they said it. To me, it seemed like an event that happened maybe a few years prior, or like a year prior, and then they pulled that one out.
What makes you think this?
You know, I remember seeing pictures, and like the gas prices were different in the background.
Yeah.
The gas prices didn't quite match what would be contemporary. And I mean, that's just weird.
Are you familiar with St. Louis? That was St. Louis, Minneapolis? Minneapolis.
No. Yeah, Minneapolis.
Are you familiar with what Minneapolis gas prices would have been at that in the end of May of 2020?
I don't know, but it seemed like it was. It just. All I'm saying is, I wouldn't put it past them to just have these paid actors, right? Like Derek Chauvin being a fake name and a paid actor. Like, I just would not put it past these people.
I don't know if I would either, but I also, it seems like that, I think you're in your head about this because in your imagination about it.
I don't think it even matters because
right.
It doesn't even affect my life directly.
Yeah.
And that's the point, is none of these things affects anybody's life directly.
I know, and then we're fighting about it and arguing about it and at each other's throats, metaphorically speaking. Most of the time it's metaphorical. But people are dying. People are getting killed over this stuff. Like that, not to simp for the blacks, but remember that black retired cop who was looking after the jewelry store, his friend's jewelry store, and he was murdered, I think, by looters or rioters or somebody.
I mean, I'm saying but I mean, that sounds like one of many things that would have happened.
Exactly. You know? One of many things. There was this guy who was incapacitated. He looked like he was turned into a rag doll, this white man who was defending his store. And then I think they charged him, if I'm not mistaken. Insane
thing, James.
insurrection.
I've talked, you and I have probably talked to people that say things like, yeah, I wouldn't want to be an armed security guard because I don't want to get shot in the back of the head for a TV. You know, that stuff is just expected.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like you know the score. You know the score. If you're going to do certain things, just expect that you're going to have to deal with certain situations. It's like being a soldier, right? So anyway, my point is everything is controlled. It's all controlled. They pick and choose what they're going to.
What they direct our attention to, for sure. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hake totally responds to CNN headlines, the skim headlines, and whatever's on Twitter. And Twitter is manipulated too. It's not not micromanaged, controlled. What Hake is talking about, like the unchristian masters aren't telling Hake directly, giving me orders, but they are influencing what I cover, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's where everybody else is getting their
True.
coverage.
Might as well talk about it. It's what's on many people's minds. If those people follow the news or Twitter or are interested in what Hake's talking about, it's true.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And here's a history lesson. So I've been studying Spanish like crazy.
Okay.
And I only study things that I'm really interested in, and I'm interested in the discovery of the Americas.
All right.
And like we were talking about with the blacks and how people don't cover it because it's just so tiresome at this point. Well, the conquistadors, when they entered into the New World, they had to confront these Indians and what they were doing, and many of the people in their home countries didn't believe it. They didn't believe that these were cannibals. They didn't believe that these people were doing these ritual sacrifices. So many of them, in real time, had to explain their actions to the throne.
Wow. It sounded too outlandish, the horrific things that they were doing. And now, present day, pardon my interruption, but I just want to say, present day, they're calling these conquistadors horrific violators of human rights or something, and they may have done some evil things, but they're not telling the whole truth of what these Indians were doing.
The conquistadors tirelessly wrote about these. They were cannibals.
Yeah.
And none of these indigenous people or people who think that their blood comes from, these indigenous groups are willing to admit that this was part of what their people would do. Yeah. And at best, you have a unified agreement that they were sacrificing people, that they were doing religious sacrifices, and people were involved in that. And they do agree that women and children were involved in these sacrifices.
Yeah.
But then it's pulling their teeth out to say, well, where do you draw the line between sacrificing these people and consuming their flesh?
Yeah.
Because even the most scholarly will tell you, at the highest echelons of their society, the high priest would do consumption of the flesh. But that's all we know, is that at the highest echelons. It's like, so where's the moral delineation for these groups of people that they're like, no, we don't consume flesh. We don't do that. That's just the high priest.
And what's sort of funny is if I'm executed or sacrificed, my human sacrificed, what do I personally care what they do with my body if they eat it, or if they burn it to Moloch or whatever? It's sick. It's another level of sickness.
The point is, this is what the conquistadors are confronted with. They're confronted with a group of people that have no logic or reason. They and this is what they've turned to. This is not a civilization.
Right.
This is not right.
Yeah.
This is not a civilization. People say, "Oh, it's a civilization lost." There was no civilization, and whatever civilization was there that built these monumental structures had long passed by the time the conquistadors arrived.
Wow.
So
I hadn't considered that.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of these giant monuments, these giant pyramids, were built long before. They say the Aztecs, right, were the ones that were. The conquistadors first saw the Aztecs doing these rituals. They're called Mexica. They knew them as they're the Mexicans, the Mexica.
Okay.
And they were known as the Mexica. They called themselves that. The enemy tribes called them that, and the Spaniards called them that. And then later on, they started using the word Aztec, and it had to do with the mythology of their where they came from. Their home was called Azteca or something. But the point is, this was a group of it was a group of people that lasted for all of 200 years. Like, the United States has lasted longer than this group of people has been around. Yeah. So they're not even like this ancient civilization. Compared to the old world, and by the old world I mean Europe, they're a flash in the pan.
I did not know
flash
that.
In the pan. Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Yeah. They're an absolute flash in the pan. They basically... they won dominion over people. And the Indians did not war in the same way that the Europeans were. They took captives. They had weapons of wood and obsidian, and they would take captives. It was called the Flower Wars. And, of course, they would use their captives for their purposes, ritual sacrifices and slavery.
Oh,
and and there were conquistadors that were taken captive. Now, you didn't want to be taken captive, but that was their method of warfare. Whereas the Spaniards really knew how to kill. They came with armas de fuego. They came with horses. The natives never seen horses before. They had their boats. They had their armaduras, their suits of armor. They had their dogs. The natives never knew dogs.
Interesting, man.
They certainly did not know the dogs of war that the Spanish had. Now, they may have had wolves and coyotes, but they never domesticated the dog.
Interesting, man.
So, anyway,
history lesson from Daniel in Texas.
That's a huge tangent. I'm sorry, man.
No worries, man. Thank you. Appreciate you. Take care, man.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys, we're over the top of the hour. Hake, your bumper music is waiting. Indeed it is, Steve C. I see you. And I saw your complaint prior. I saw nobody else press 1, but maybe they just ignored you. Shameful. I disavow ignoring Steve C. Enjoy Matilda the Gorilla, old classic. I love it. I'm saving the longer okay song for the transition, the moral transition between Hake and Hassan. So here's Mary Rice Hopkins. Enjoy, guys, you musical Philistines. I'll be right back in a couple of minutes here. Here it is.
Matilda loved to sing songs every day, and this is what Matilda the gorilla would say. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. So we'd go strolling through the park. You know the people would laugh and the dogs would bark. They never understood a word Matilda would sing, but Matilda was doing her gorilla thing. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ooh 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 ah ah ah. So finally the circus man came along and he said, Matilda, I know where you belong. We'll put you in the circus to sing your songs, and we'll be monkeying around all day long. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. So Matilda was happy as can be. She'd eat her bananas and swing from the trees. Now with the friends you would see the singing Matilda family. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah. Ah ooh 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 ah ah ah.
So good.
Everybody sing.
Look at that crab. Nice pick, Hassan. Everybody. Got to run this one at least monthly. The heck is this? Well, thank you guys for bearing with me through the... So good. She's such a talented songwriter. That's Mary Rice Hopkins, even if she is a mama. I got to read some super chats, guys, coming up right here. Over on Rumble, Evil is Still Real gave several supers. Pro tip, if you consider me to be a pro, at 120 live viewers listening to you talk about the G-wordist, sub-aist, gay subject. Oops, that's funny. Pig Latin for the G word, you accidentally say the G word. Subjects on Earth, how could you not consider yourself a pro? 8-year-olds would kill for 120. Soph dwarfed Hake, right? She's my competitor. Evil is Still Real, as is Dennis Prager, my competitor. I think he's on at the same time as Hake, by the way. Do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, says evil is still real, is from Aleister Crowley, Golden Dawn, Kabbalah, Seward, Apre, Cray, that the elite PDF files follow and worship. You could call it Satanism, or just J-word, a Jewish Apre, Prager. Thank you, evil is still real. Fair, fair. He also says, I saw this flaming G-word guy in a tutu with a fairy wand. I told him, you don't have C-word apre on the Hake report. And their flat earth R-words, G-words, incel callers. Etard Ray. Nice. Thank you, Evil is Still Real. That's pretty funny. He also says, how G-word do you have to be to have an actual medical disorder around hearing popping noises? Answer, extremely G-word, AF, America first. Or, to put it another way, a flat earther says evil is still real. But I don't think he's actually a flat earther. He just wants them represented rightly, not with the disinformation flat earth society stuff, of which I am a honorary member for my tireless efforts promoting the flat earth to people all over the world. Nice. Signed by the president and their secretary. Male president, female secretary. Evil is Still Real says, I don't know if anyone tries harder than me every day to get banned. You got to be a real R-word to get banned from the YouTube chat, tards. By the way, Ben Shapiro and Prager are as based as Ellen or your show. Nice. By the way, speaking of unchristian, atheist, Jewish people who are not friends of the Christians like Dennis Prager is, Bill Maher is not based. You know how I read that thing about how he's going to be a scab from the unions? Oh, he changed his mind. He tweeted about it. I saw the tweet. I'm like, lame or weak or something like that. Follow the Hake Report on Twitter, or X if you like. Consuming human flesh is just a little less evil than letting married women call into radio shows to get advice from men that are not their husbands. Yeah, fair advice. I think a lot of ladies should be asking their husbands, and instead they're asking Hake or JLP. And that's why JLP, you'll notice, will ask, what'd your husband say? Nice. Catch my wife on the phone with a mad. He would... Orange juice. The juice is loose. I disavow that. Evil is still real. He wouldn't really. But, you know, it's a fair point. They should be asking their husbands. Evil is Still Real says, you can only domesticate lower life forms, such as dogs, than human. Natives, he says, never domesticated dogs. He calls them natives, but he means American Indians. Never domesticated dogs because dogs are... Oh, come on, I disavow this. I'm going to read it, but I disavow it. Superior life form. Come on, I can't read that. I guess, anyway. I think you guys, if you were listening closely, caught the gist of it. If you want to know what he said, go to rumble.com/thehake-report/live. Thank you, Evil is Still Real. Whew. Making me nervous. Why are you getting nervous, man? Let me just double check on... Thank you, Lin Yen Chin, for the calmer tip. Be calmer. Being enlightened till I rise, bought 3 coffees. You know, Hake. Prager makes a solid point, actually, because the void of identity, emotions, etc., is the connection to God. In the light of knowledge is the blindness to reality, which is the correct connection to evil. That's amazing to see. Yeah. Knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Blindness to reality. All these people who know so much. Thank you, spoiler alert. He found Bill Maher's my decision to return to work was before I realized that they actually are close. They're actually close to a deal. Very unchristian. Very flip-floppery. Not very solid. David in Ocala, Florida is on the line. David, thanks for calling and holding. What's up?
How you doing today, James?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, your show's been going good, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, before I get that last caller, he's right. You know, I've brought up people. I've told them, I said, what happened to Terror Alert Elevated? Where did that go? Did all the terrorists just leave?
I guess George W. Bush graduated out of office, and so did that program.
Well, that was the biggest mind control deal ever.
That's.
I mean, I've never seen any. I mean, that's huge. That was a lot. You know, I really woke up after that. That's what really got me.
The terror scare.
Yeah, the terror scare.
Yeah, and then they're using it to go after Americans, and the most patriotic Americans. They're using it to go after.
Right. Yeah, like I'm not saying I don't know too much about this guy, but I see they're blasting that MyPillow dude, so he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know that there was anything new that they're going after the MyPillow guy.
Well, they got his deposition or something like that, filmed and put it on YouTube. I watched a little bit of it the other day, just this morning, and he's sort of out of control. You know, he could handle himself a lot better.
Yeah.
He's very angry.
Oh, okay.
You know, and that's a problem with the Republicans. If you notice, I mean, they're sharp, but when they talk, they have a lot of anger in their voices, and that's what turns some people off.
True.
You know?
Yeah, you shouldn't be overcome by evil. Overcome evil with good.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that.
Well, hey, listen, you promised me that I could call you and tell you this one of the best stories I got, and
right.
So remember how now this starts out. I'm 17 years old, and this is a week before the prom. Okay, and I'm in high school, of course.
Okay.
And remember, I told you I had this killer Camaro, and everything like that. Well, the way I built that car was I worked at this really high-line seafood restaurant as a busboy. And on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights, I was banking down equivalent to a kid making about $150 a night.
Nice.
Living at home with no bills. That's how I was able to build that car. Well, on weeknights, I would wash dishes. And one weeknight, I'm washing dishes, and this friend of mine comes in and he tells me, now I'm going to go in some code here so you don't get in trouble.
Okay.
He comes in and sees me, he finds me back washing dishes, and he says, hey, David, he goes, I got some Afghani, come on outside and I'll take care of you. So I tell him, I say, look, just go out there, pop your hood to your car, and everybody knows I'm a mechanic and blah, blah, blah. So I go out there, we partake, I get done, and I'm like lit, man. I mean, and I'm reeking. So I'm like, man, I cannot walk through the front door of this restaurant smelling like this. So I come up with this brainstorm idea that I'm going to crawl this 10, 12-foot fence in the back of this restaurant and just go back through the back door. So I get up on top of this 10, 12-foot fence, and I got both my feet up there, and I'm sort of losing my balance. So I decide I'm going to reach over and grab a hold of the roof. And when I'm looking down, I'm looking down at the concrete. Anyway, I grab a hold of this roof, and all of a sudden my body starts vibrating at about 100 times a second.
Wow.
And I don't know what's going on, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm stuck on this fence, and about 7 seconds in, I hear, you're getting electrocuted. You're going to die.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I fall. It lets me loose, man. And I fall, and I land on my knees, my elbows, my wrist, and my chin all at the same time.
Wow.
Bam! Oh, yeah. So the cook comes running out. I mean, this is like right out of the movies, like those people, like I am Joe Dirt in this thing, okay?
Okay.
And so the cook comes out. He's like, David, what happened? And I'm like all dazed, like in the movies. It takes me about 15 seconds, 20 seconds to get it together. So I went on back in there, and I want to talk about a girl in this, and just after the end, because it's for men, okay?
Okay.
Girl that's involved in this, okay? So anyway, I go in. Now, my mom had a 62 Corvette convertible that I wanted to take to the prom, and she wouldn't let me. But she had a friend in Gainesville that owned a car lot that owned her a favor, and she said, hey, he said you can come up there and pick out any car you want. So I said, okay. So I go to his lot, and I look in the back, and there's this little blue sports car sitting in the back. And I say, hey, what about that car? And he goes, well, it's a manual. He was worried I'd burn his clutch up. I told him, nah, man, I know how to drive. He goes, that's a special car, man. And Hake, you can type this into your computer right now and look this car up. It was a 1981 Fiat Spider convertible 2000. And if you type that into Google, it'll pull up this exact car. It was this light blue color. And he goes, man, that's a special car. He goes, that car's, the color of that car is electric blue. And I go, great, man. I just got electrocuted like 5 days ago.
Nice.
Is that messed up or what?
That's pretty funny, man.
I know, it's just nuts. So the girl I took to the prom, man, I really dug this chick. And there's a lot of men out there that can understand this. I really, really dug her. But she was just too much trouble. She was too much to deal with. Have you ever had a girlfriend like that?
I think so. Yes, indeed. I have.
Yeah. And, and women need to know about that. You can, a man can really, really like you, but if you're just too much trouble, what'll happen is a man will just shut down.
Yeah. Very true, man.
Mm-hmm. So.
Fair point, man. Thank you for the warning on that. The bit of wisdom.
Yeah, well, man, I'm just lucky I didn't die that I got let loose off that fence. I found out later on the reason why they had done that was they thought some people were stealing meat out of the freaking meat locker.
Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but
it's a good thing
anyway,
it's a good thing it let you go eventually.
Right, and I got my prom picture. You can see my chin's all scratched up.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Well, thanks for this story, man. David in Ocala.
Hey, thanks for letting me come on, man. It's going to be a long time. I'm starting a new job, and
I wish you well with that.
Listen. Yeah, I can. I'll be listening to you and stuff like that. I really appreciate you letting me come on your show. So I don't know when I'm going to be able to talk to you again. I just want you to know I really appreciate you, James.
Thank you, man. You too.
Yeah. And the call screener. Tell him thank you for being so kind and everything like that. And y'all just have a great day, okay, bro?
All right. You too.
All right. Later on, man.
All right. Bye. Quickly, before I get back to calls, hang tight, callers. Russell Brand ridiculousness. I saw this tweet from Timcast. You guys know Timcast? To be fair, I don't think even Alex Stein 99 would believe a conspiracy theory this absurd. Russell Brand knew 15 years ago. You guys heard of Russell Brand? He's that screechy-voiced foreigner, UK, some type of UK accent, maybe the lower class UK. Shout out to the lower class UK. Comedian, I guess, married for a little bit to Katy Perry, the singer woman, and now he's sort of an independent thinker but still liberal. He interviewed that guy. He was interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson. He interviewed a guy who was also interviewed by Jesse Lee Peterson. Dark-haired, British man. He interviewed that guy. Spoiler alert, found it years ago when I mentioned it, or a year ago when I mentioned it, or several months ago. White nationalist guy. No, not David Icke. Young guy, young man. Anyway, he's a liberal, and now he's like on Rumble, and apparently he was on YouTube. I didn't know that he had like 6 million subscribers on YouTube. Sounds high, but I think it's real. This Russell Brand, he got demonetized on YouTube over accusations. My caller yesterday mentioned it. So Russell Brand, kind of a funny guy, I guess. Long-haired, dark-haired. Doesn't look like a normal British man, but I could be mistaken. He knew 15 years ago that one day the media was going to go after him, so he joined Occupy Wall Street. Yeah, this guy joined Occupy Wall Street and started talking politics to build a base that will defend him, to defend himself. So clip 31, Krasenstein, not a Christian, a liberal, sort of a Chad, one of two twins on Twitter. recently came back to Twitter because they were bot farming or something like that. I don't know. Allegedly. Krasenstein simping for feminists for everyone. He shares this video. Listen to this. Clip 31. Here's feminist for everyone. A beautiful woman, mildly attractive, talking like a nutcase. And she has some type of accent, too. Listen to this.
Of course he's known, since MeToo started, that there are women out there who have stuff on him and that it's only a matter of time before they come forward and expose him for what he is. He's not an idiot. He has known that this day was coming, and so he's had the incentive over the last few years to cultivate a following of people who distrust the media, who think that the media are out to get Russell Brand and that they'll do anything that they can to do that. And that's what he's been doing since MeToo started. That's the only way that he avoids being cancelled. That's the only way that this guy with the God complex stays relevant, is if he cultivates this following of people who will disbelieve anything the media put out about him because they don't trust the media. He has everything to gain from doing that, and that's exactly what he's done successfully.
Argaluna says OWS, Occupy Wall Street, was a staged event to counter the Tea Party. Yeah, I remember that too. I remember the occupiers, a bunch of liberals, and it was after the Tea Party. The Tea Party was peaceful, mostly white, of course, but it had all races in it. It was a bunch of normie boomers. I was a Tea Partier. I'm a normie boomer, okay, even though I'm a millennial. And we did not like the government spending out of control by W. Bush, but we came out after Obama because he took it from bad to way worse, out of the frying pan with W into the fire. Yeah. I noticed that Occupy Wall Street was mostly not decent people, trashy. And then I find out that some Asian girl I used to know was into the Occupy thing, an Obama supporter. Evil. That's why I say Taiwan is China, because she was Taiwanese. Her accent. Yeah, what a crazy woman, huh? Insane woman. She thinks that canceling is legitimate, or that Me Too is legitimate. It's not legitimate. It doesn't matter. So the top story of a couple of days ago from the far left females at the Skim, THE, capital SKIMM, the Skim, was that Russell Brand accused of R-wording 4 women 15 years ago or whenever. Tea Party sounds not morally straight. It's a throwback to the Boston Tea Party, in which the people of America did not like taxation without representation, so they threw the English tea into the sea to protest that. I don't know if it was right or wrong, but it was whatever. Warning, this story mentions S-word jewel abuse, which could be triggering to some readers. Ladies at the Skim playing mama. And they validate the false emotions of the evil women who are traumatized and unforgiving of what may or may not have happened to them. They hype themselves up into anxiety attacks and stuff, you know? Terrible. It doesn't matter whether it's true or false. To me, for one, I don't care about Russell Brand. It's his life. And I don't care about the accusers. And neither does anybody else, truly. They're just hateful, self-righteous people. Wrestling allegations. Shout out to the writer, though. Yeah, they're clever. I like the clever ladies at the Skim. Satan in them is clever, and so is the language they use. It's not up to the court of so-called public opinion. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? I looked around to see if anybody was looking sideways at me. It's an issue between the two of them. And maybe the cops, like I said yesterday, or whenever I covered this Me Too mess. Not for the phony, corrupt people who want to meddle in this, or evil YouTube. But evil YouTube's going to be evil YouTube. It's evil YouTube's job to be evil YouTube. And God works all things together for good. That's why YouTube, although it is evil, can be used for good. To spread JLP's message of forgiveness. God's message of forgiveness through JLP, through YouTube. Nice, huh? Interesting story, real quick before I get to calls. This is related to this Russell Brand thing. I saw this tweet, and I think I have it. I have screenshots of it, maybe. Russell Brand. See if I can pull this up here for you guys. No, I do not have it. Okay, let me click on it. From Mr. Steven Steele. This person on X, also known as Twitter, tweeted this out. Many years ago, I met a young woman at a bar I was DJing at. So this guy is into a recording artist or something silly. Oh, sorry. Well, he doesn't, whatever. She was very persistent and asked me a number of times to hang out after my gig before I accepted. Took her back to my place, put on some tea, listened to some records, and were conversing. During the course of our conversation, I learned that she was dating an acquaintance of mine, made me uncomfortable. So I decided to cut our hangout short, offered to drive her home. She was disappointed, slammed my car door upon leaving my car in front of her apartment. Next afternoon, I was hanging out with my friends at a store, in my friend's store, when the same acquaintance I mentioned above, who was dating her, saw me and angrily confronted me in the store. He wanted to fight me outside for taking advantage of the girl he was dating. The girl I drove home the night before had told him I'd gotten her drunk and basically S-word-ually assaulted her. Lies. Terrible lie, according to him. The truth is, I don't drink. Never laid a hand on this girl. She was essentially begging me to sleep with her. I declined her advances, instead driving her home. That's just what I did. Insisted on driving her home. Fortunately, at the time I was interning for a law firm, this musician interning for a law firm, so I retained legal representation, confronted the girl at her work in a natural foods store. She ceased her lies and was forced to admit them to avoid threats of legal action. Another time I went on a first date with a different woman, wasn't feeling a chemistry between us, didn't return her texts after that date. She made up a rumor I was secretly G-word, gay, and spread it around to everyone in my friend's circle, all because I didn't want to date her. Some women will lie and defame a man over very petty, vindictive reasons. Or they'll tell facts, but not the whole truth. Petty, vindictive reasons. Or they'll feel like, oh, someone needs to stop him. They'll feel self-righteous. I added that. He didn't mention that. Pardon me if I'm skeptical over recent allegations against Russell Brand, whom I'm personally not the biggest fan of, by the way, he says. This is, again, this is Mr. Steven Steele tweeting this out. The timing details all seem suspect. We'll see how things shake out. Not that we should even care, I add. Hake adds. But I'm here to say that if this can happen to a non-famous, non-celebrity guy like me, says Mr. Steven Steele, local DJ celebrity, he's being modest. It can certainly happen to someone this wealthy and high profile that just so happens to be primary competition to the mainstream media. Yeah, I mean, he gets major views, kind of like AJ, my competitor. There was an interesting reply from some guy in response to that story, if you guys were listening to that. Lovely story, but it really doesn't dismiss all rapes around the world, does it? Said this one Gary Z, Plan ZYX, in response to that story, right? Is it a lovely story, Gary? Asks this Steven Steele, arguing with the devil. Here's the attention you ordered for your ridiculous non sequitur straw man. Nice language, buddy. And so Gary Z says, yes, Steven, it's just a lovely story. You probably made it up in order to prove your point. If that sounds insensitive and you really were a victim, then I hope you see the irony of not being believed. He's simping for the women. Believe women, right? Why should anyone believe your story of victimhood but not the story from a potential R-word ape victim? You have a lot of nerve assuming that you are to be believed in a story that is meant to discredit and not believe another woman who may have had it much worse. Pathetic you are. The heck? He didn't ask you to believe him? Crazy people, huh? La gente está muy loca. In 30 minutes, Wow HASSAN is going to be live, guys. Check it out. Walking on Water HASSAN. Plus or minus, right? Plus or minus. As promised, I got to get to Frederick in Los Angeles, California. Frederick, thanks for calling and holding, man. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, Hank? I wanted to call and thank you for freeing me. I did you a favor.
Nice.
I was real polite today on the Jesse show. I gave him a way to save his country.
Right on. Abolish unions.
Yeah.
We're for freedom.
Hey, that's right.
Are you an abolitionist?
I'm starting to turn into one. I'm
Nice.
Frederick Douglass now.
Oh, you're Frederick Douglass from Los Angeles, California. Don't dox yourself, man.
Oh, that's right.
Cool.
But what's going on? That's a shame. I don't know if that was a good plan for him to try to hook up with Occupy Wall Street to try to build a base. He could have just went in to hide and paid them off, could he? I mean, to go more public, to try to hide from some scrutiny of some women. That didn't make too much sense.
It didn't. It was a typical woman going into her imagination, and Krasenstein acting like that was a legitimate idea. Krasenstein tweeted out, oh, I got to share with you what Krasenstein tweeted out. I forgot to mention it. He said, which is the more likely scenario? Did 4 separate women come out with false accusations about Brand because he is against the media, the globalists? Or did Russell Brand come out against the media and the globalists because he knew they would eventually report on his alleged crimes? Critical thinking points to the latter. And I think I responded with, or number 3, women are self-righteous and nutty and and the media is on the side of self-righteous, nutty women.
Or the D, don't pick sides, none of the above.
Yeah, fair enough. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because when you start not taking women's sides, you're going to get labeled and canceled. You know how they do it.
True.
Yeah, you never know because he could be lying. You never know. Only God knows.
But who even cares? Whose business is it but them and him?
Right. True.
Yep.
They want everybody else to hate them. That's why everybody comes out and do that. They're like, I hate them. I want y'all to hate them with me.
It's like what Daniel said. They're directing our attention to something that doesn't even matter.
Fact.
Yeah.
Fact. But it's evil. Don't get it wrong. It's just different, like, levels of evil. Do you agree with that? Like, crime has different, like, murder. That's evil, right? But it's a crime. But it's different than a different crime as kidnapping, but it's still crime, right?
Yeah, it manifests different symptoms.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That's where me and you differ because you don't think like racism is a finger, like murder and crime is.
Right. I don't think that racism is even a bad so-called stuff that's called racism is oftentimes something that somebody has the proper right to do and should do, such as like tell the truth. Trump is, for example, like Trump is called racist. Or good? It's usually a good thing. When somebody is called racist, the thing that they're doing is oftentimes a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Like Trump, he told the truth. He tells the truth sometimes. Trump does, and he's called racist for it. But it's good to tell the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
How you know they're telling the truth if they don't even know that person and they're just like first time meeting? How does that person that's so-called being called racist know the truth about a person they never met?
Oh, so give me a specific scenario.
A white man meet a black man.
Uh-huh.
Call him the N-word.
Yeah.
How can he be telling the truth if he don't even know how he's living?
Sometimes you let off vibes that people pick up on, and they are telling the truth about you. In that moment, you were being that thing.
Are they listening to thoughts? Are they assuming?
Oh, the people who say a white man calls a black man an N-word. For example, the Dunkin' Donuts case that I harped on several months ago. about the older man who looked like he probably used the N-word, even though there's no proof. He seemed like he was angry, and that was wrong to be angry. And then the black Hispanic guy who punched him out and killed him was angry and was wrong to be angry. And they're both suffering or suffered for their evil, their own evil.
Thanks.
Yep.
But you saying one dude told the truth, though.
Oh, like Trump never called anyone the N-word that I know of, you know, but Trump told the truth, and he was called racist for it. He stood up for what's right. He stood up for the country, for love for all people, and he told the truth in love, and he was called racist. So that's what I mean.
Oh, okay. Only time I heard
he
Trump
calls
was
black
called racist
he calls
was
black
about his
female
conduct.
reporters racist. I love that boomer aspect
Who
of
said
him.
that?
Trump.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I heard him call them low class or...
And then he called the low IQ.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. Maxine Waters, he calls her low IQ. And then he called the woman who's prosecuting him in Georgia racist. The black woman.
If racism don't exist, he needs to stop with that rhetoric. Don't you agree?
Maybe, but I pick my battles because he's telling a lie for the sake of a bigger truth. That woman.
You can't tell a lie on the truth.
You can tell you can misstate reality because we know.
You're gonna start spreading more lies.
No, it's not spreading lies
exists.
because he's a little loosey-goosey on the facts because it's a fact that racism doesn't exist. And it's also the truth that racism doesn't exist.
Loosey-goosey on the facts.
Trump always tells the truth even when he lies, says Sean. Yeah, I agree.
But he's loosey-goosey on the facts. No, Sean ain't going to correct you, Hank. You need to stay about what you say.
What's wrong with being loosey-goosey with the facts if you have the big picture truth?
Is he saying racism is real?
No, he's not saying racism is real.
Or he's pandering to me, making me think racism real.
No, he's pointing out that the black woman is all into the black thing and hates white people and thinks that racism is real and is smearing Trump as racist when she's the one who's all into the race thing, not Trump.
So
Trump loves everybody.
No
Trump loves
racism,
anybody.
But he's racist.
Trump loves everybody. A black Democrat woman prosecutor doesn't love anybody.
Jack Smith and her.
Jack Smith doesn't love anybody. He's a triathlete. He's not a man. Shout out to the triathletes.
That's what men do. I mean, that sounds like a... You can't say that.
Yes, I can. Men don't do triathlons.
Yeah, I think they do.
That's a children thing.
Keeping your mind and body in shape.
How about, do men do decathlons or do transgenders do decathlons? Because you know the Olympic decathlete Bruce Jenner turned out to be a transgender, and he was feeling that way that whole time.
Okay, I guess.
See, real men are not track stars.
Yeah, they are. They're competing in the Olympics. What do you mean?
I'm talking about real men.
We put our best athletes against other countries' athletes to see who's the supreme man being.
Physically, but not spiritually.
We don't put steel workers out there.
Spiritually, they're not true men yet. They could become men later in life, maybe.
So they don't have any spirituality or praying for winning the race or how they train or any of that.
You shouldn't be praying for winning the race. That's not true spirituality.
I mean, you're praying for your betterment.
See, that's all ego. You're praying to Satan. You're being a selfish person.
To say men aren't athletes, that's ridiculous.
I didn't say men aren't athletes. I said men aren't track stars. Name me one track star who's a real man, a real alpha man.
Lance Armstrong.
See, that guy, and that's not track, but he's not that manly.
You got to ride a bike in the triathlon.
He got cancer. No man gets cancer.
Oh, my God. Stop. See, now you're overboard.
All right, Frederick. I'm playing around too much with you. I gotta go. Take care, man.
All right. Take it easy.
Bye. Real quick, super from Greenwall with a diamond. The media ignores women whom elites abused as kids. Yeah, true. Kentucky John is on the line. John in Kentucky, the other John in Kentucky. What's up, man?
Hey, man, it's only one real John from Kentucky, and that's me.
Right on.
It ain't that other guy. I don't know what he's doing, but hey, man, I want to address William real quick since he addressed me 2 days in a row.
Okay.
I don't have no white daddy. If anything, he does, because he's the boot kisser of the white man. He's that guy on the plantation that tells on the other black people for not working. He's the Uncle Tom. So if anybody's got a white daddy, it's William.
Yeah,
William never calls in.
And you have never doxed your boss to know. You've never doxed the race of your boss for whom you work, or you may even work for yourself. We don't know.
Well, this is the thing. I do have two businesses. One that I share with my wife, and one that I run myself. But I do have a job as well.
Nice.
But I don't work for any particular white man. So
right on, man.
If I did or if I didn't, I mean it doesn't matter.
Fair enough.
But for him to waste energy and call in 2 days in a row, that must bother him. That I so-called attack the white man when I call in to you. It's almost like he's trying to protect the white man from my opinions.
Well,
so, I don't know.
That's something for him to consider for himself and know within himself whether you're right about that criticism of him.
And as a black man, he can criticize whoever he wants, but 100% of the time he's always criticizing blacks, never whites. I've never heard him call in and criticize whites at all.
But you've heard me criticize whites.
Yeah, I mean, I told you 10% of the time you will.
Nice.
But it's usually the criticism is not standing up to blacks, which that's just not
that's funny.
Equal criticism.
Yeah,
like you have to have it's the overdosing, it's the suicide, it's the politically, what are you, a conservative, Republican, whatever? Mm-hmm. Y'all are like down in the dumps. So like y'all are like done for. Y'all got to start y'all's own party. So,
interesting.
I mean, you need to have better criticism of whites.
All right.
In my opinion.
Fair enough.
In my opinion. Yeah.
Appreciate your 2 cents, man.
And don't disrespect your favorite caller either, because she's a good lady. She just talks real fast and everything like that. So it shouldn't be disrespecting.
But you you disagree with her that she was. I think she might have speculated that William is white, and you agree William is obviously black.
Yeah, he's black. He's just one of them coon types.
Well, I disavow that word for the sake of my Twitch channel. But thank you, man.
Yeah.
All right, take care, Jonathan. I mean, John. All right. Interesting, huh? I'll let it slide, the attack, since they attacked each other. Don't want to feed into the caller wars, right? Let's talk about, speaking of war, Strong Z, Zelensky. Is he strong? Is he Z? Is Z for victory, right? For Ukraine and the climate. Clip 34, Still Gray tweeted this out. Zelensky says, according to Ian Miles Cheong on X, Zelensky says that it's important for the world to fulfill its climate policy. This is clip 34 here. Climate policy objectives, because extreme weather is the most dangerous threat to mankind. And his source, the video was originally tweeted out by Tom S. Elliott. Zelensky, and he spells it with 2 Y's. Oh, do I not have it in the folder? See if I have it at all. He says, humanity is failing on its climate policy objectives. Terrible. I do have it, so I will copy and paste it into the folder. Thank you, HASSAN. Wow, HASSAN, starting about 15 minutes, okay? Boom, boom. Pasting now. Do you see it in there? Okay, here's Zelensky. He knows his audience. Climate policy. Remember he met with that gal? With the... what's that gal's name? I forget her name. Anyway, not hard to do to know your audience. Ooh, climate. Here it is.
Though humanity is failing on its climate policy objectives, This means that extreme weather will still impact the normal global life, and some evil state will also weaponize its outcomes. And when people in the streets of New York and other cities of the world went out on climate protest, we all have seen them. And when people in Morocco and Libya and other countries die as a result of natural disasters, and when islands and countries disappear underwater, and when tornadoes and deserts are spreading into new territories, and when all of this is happening, one unnatural disaster in Moscow decided to launch a big war and kill tens of thousands of people.
Whoa.
We have to stop it. We must act united to defeat the aggressor and focus all our capabilities and energy on addressing these challenges. As nukes are restrained, likewise the aggressor must be restrained, and all his tools and methods of war. Each war now can become final, but it takes our unity to make sure that aggression will not break in again. And it is not a dialogue between the so-called great powers somewhere behind the closed doors that can guarantee us all the new wars era, but open war of all nations for peace.
What's that woman, what's our UN ambassador, black woman ambassador under Biden? Greenwood, right? It is Greenwood, right? Linda Thomas Greenfield. Okay. Linda Thomas -Greenfield. We saw a picture of her looking this all mannish. Anyway, I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. I noticed that he is wearing a collared button-up t-shirt, and it's green, a la Anchor Baby. And he has that gruff voice that I like and the accent that I like. And his neck is too thick for the collar, so it's unbuttoned a little bit. Right on, man. Somebody said, this guy is despicable. Yeah, he's not a Christian. And he's a kiss up to the global homo stuff. The aggressor. Excuse me, but I think it's mutual aggression by now. Anyway. Just thought I would share that. That was a part of his UN speech. -Greenfield is a good normal Christian name. Yeah, Linda Thomas -Greenfield. They showed a flash of her. She doesn't look very nice. Mildly horrific. Okay. Last several minutes here of the show, let me cover this Refugee Resettlement Watch. I mentioned in Hake News on Tuesday, 51,200 so-called refugees been admitted to the United States this year, according to the latest federal data from CNN, Common Nonsense Network. President Biden set the year's refugee ceiling at 125,000, considering raising the number of refugees who could be admitted to the U.S. Next year. The U.S. has for years outpaced other countries for refugee admissions, allowing millions into the country since the Refugee Act of 1980. The program took a hit under our greatest president, Donald J. Trump, slashed the number of refugees allowed to come into the United States. And he shut it down during the scamdemic, China virus scamdemic. Nice. Suspended a resettlement. In a statement during World Refugee Day this year, Sleepy Joe said they're rebuilding the refugee admissions program to replace Americans, right? Said the U.S. planned to welcome refugees. 125,000. That's that angel of light possessing evil Joe and the mama spirit of the liberal, female-minded liberals. Welcome refugees into communities that don't want them. When we take act, welcoming refugees is part of who we are as Americans, said Sleepy Joe. our nation was founded by those fleeing religious persecution. When we take action to help refugees around the world and include them, we honor this past and are stronger for it. What a lie, huh? That's what Biden said. For interesting reading, check out the About page of Refugee Resettlement Watch. Okay? Ann Corcoran, Refugee Watcher on Twitter, now known as X, account suspended. Refugee Watcher was her username. And it's a cute little old lady. And I use the term old a little loosely, but older than Hake anyway. Refugee Resettlement Watch was her website, .org. She was banned by the far-left extremist kiss-up platform called WordPress. WordPress, after like 12 years, she started her blog in 2007, and in 2019, they got rid of her during the Trump administration when they were trying to get rid of all the people, the decent people. Refugee Resettlement Watch, they're changing America by changing the people. And she hasn't been active since 2022, February 2022, that I can tell. She also runs this blog, Fraud, Crooks, and Criminals, that you may have just seen, demonstrating daily that diversity is not strength. She's just a little old boomer lady. Maybe Gen X, but probably boomer. Gal? Maybe even older than boomer, but looks good for her age. She used to go on Fox News. You saw that little clip on her About. Prior to 2007, she wrote in apparently 2019, I had no interest in the refugee issue. Heck, I had no idea there even was any controversy. Of course, I knew there were refugees moving around the world, but I had no clue the U.S. government was actively working with the evil United Nations, I put evil in there, to select refugees from third world countries and then quietly placing them in small and medium-sized cities in most of the 50 states. That is, until a stir was created in the rural county where I live in Western Maryland. To make a very long story short, I learned that the Virginia Council of Churches, working with New York City-based Church World Service, had been quietly placing refugees in our county. And she goes on and talks about how she got kind of sucked into this issue and became sort of an outspoken person to the point where she ran this blog and was interviewed by Fox and Friends back in the day. Back when Fox was a little bit less unbased, debased. Debased, is that a proper word to describe them? Or what my meaning? She's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show a couple of times, hat tipped to Caroline in New York, told me about Refugee Resettlement Watch. And she hasn't been active, but there are other bloggers who are putting the truth out there more clearly and fully than Commie Nonsense Network or The Skim or any other of the mainstream sources, even Wikipedia probably, that I refer to for my sources. But they are out there. I've mentioned some of them. I suppose Federale fifth columnist might be one of those guys who's telling the truth about immigration anyway. But it's a crazy situation. Can you believe this cute little old lady that I just showed you? She was suspended on Twitter by evil people. Refugee Watcher. Again, she was a guest on the Jesse Lee Peterson show like 2 or 3 times when I was producer. Look at her. Just a normal lady who realized, hey now, hold on, what's going on here? Wait a minute. It's a sick world. Very sick. I'm going to double check for any last super chats, guys. This has been the Hake Report. I want to make sure I'm ending on time. Justin in Fullerton, California wanted to comment on the refugees and the R word, rape situation, but I'm sorry, man, I cannot get to you. Oh, you want me to take it? Hassan says take it. Hassan's my boss. But no, I cannot take you, man. I gotta end the show here. Somebody bought me a coffee over on Ko-fi, Ko-fi. Keep up the good work, Hake. I enjoy listening to your show. Thank you to my Ko-fi supporter. I appreciate that. Anyway, guys, enjoy this track. See, hey, he said she's cute. Enjoy this track. This is okay, all right? It's okay. And this track is called We. I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines. I gotta head on out of here. Wow, HASSAN is coming up next. Adios, America. Bye.